No, I think I've got it. Yeah, I'm all queued up. I've
Okay.
got it. I'm all set. Yep.
Okay, great, great. Actually, hello everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining the East Community Partnership, our first meeting for 2024. Hi everyone. I hope that you all are having an amazing year so far. We are gonna get started today. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're representing. And I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Today's agenda, we're going to have our East Flatbush Community Partnership updates. We have a presentation that will be done by Michelle Dixon. And Michelle is from ACS, the Division of Prevention Services. We'll have our program updates where you all have an opportunity to share about anything going on in your organizations or any events that you'd like us to know about. And then we'll talk through next steps. Cindy?
Hello, everyone. Cindy Reed here, community organizer with the partnership, and I'll be presenting our updates. As you all know, we have a weekly newsletter where we try our best to share as much information with the community so they don't miss out on these great opportunities that often come out, and oftentimes community members miss out on them. So if you have any events, any resources that you would like us to share with the community, we welcome you to share them with us. You can email them at reidc, R-E-I-D-C, at jcany.org. And also, you can also sign up to be a monthly presenter to share your resource and events that you may have coming up as well. We'll put that link in the chat for anyone that wants to sign up for that. Thank you. Next, we also have a great opportunity for East Flatbush residents. The opportunity is the community resident liaison, someone who's interested in getting more involved in the community, sharing information and supporting their community more. Some of the requirements is that you just have to reside within our catchment area zip codes, which is 11203, 11210, 11212, and 11226. Attend our monthly meetings virtually and in person. We would love to have someone that can speak Spanish or Creole, preferably, but not a requirement. No education requirement use required for this position, and some of the perks of this position is a $250 stipend every 3 months. Metro cards will be provided, and opportunities for that person to develop leadership skills and gain experiences with the community coalition that we've built here. Let me share some more, Lameka. If you have any questions, you can email our general email, which is ef@cpp.jccany.org. Next. We also want to share about our virtual open door, which takes place on the second Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. This is the meeting that we welcome residents to attend to receive information, share information with the community. It's a great meeting. We always conclude the meeting with a raffle gift card of Target cards. So we'd love you to share this also with your network. And you're already joining us for the meeting, but we also have our monthly general meeting, which takes place on the fourth Thursday each month from 3 to 5. And that's the meeting we also mentioned about the link if you want to present. Maybe usually we end the meeting with 15 minutes for people to share any quick updates, but this signing up to be a presenter is when you want to share a little bit more, maybe presenting for 20 to 30 minutes or even longer for that. So that's what that opportunity is for. So that's that. And we want to let you know that we will be meeting quarterly in person. Our first in-person meeting will be March 28th, 3 to 5 at our new location. Some of you that attended our end of the year celebration was able to see that beautiful space. So we hope that more of you can join us on March 28th and see that space as well at 57 Willoughby Street. we'll definitely be sharing that through the newsletter and a updated flyer for that, so people are aware that that's in person, since they're so used to us being virtual. And we encourage you to visit our website, which is eastflatbushpartnership.org. There's a lot of information on there. You can also share your information on there by sharing with us things that you have coming up, so we can add it to the calendar that we have on the website. So you can visit, you can do referrals through that website as well. So you haven't gotten a chance, take some time to visit the website. Thank you.
Cindy, you have this portion, and then Edlin will do upcoming events. Cindy?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm waiting for, waiting for you to go on the next slide.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So for our past events, early in December, we hosted our annual gingerbread party in collaboration with Sesame Flyers, Rugby Public Library, the Art and Public Speaking Program. Oh my God, how you pronounce that program? Is it Chic or Chic? I can't remember. The one with Robin. I just want to highlight her as a partner.
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Yeah, and also with Fit and Play Mama. The event was very successful. You can see the pictures here where families came out and enjoyed building gingerbread houses, and also a healthy cooking class that day as well. I believe the event was featured on Pix 11, and was it what was the second one, Lamecca?
I think it was Channel 9 as well.
Okay, thank you. For our end of the year celebration, like I mentioned earlier, we hosted that at our new location, 57 Willoughby Street. It was a great event, seeing our partners that we haven't been able to see in a while to come out and celebrate the work that the partnership has done. So that was a great, and we also, there's a picture here where we honored Lamecca, the director, here for her leadership as well. On December 16th, in collaboration with East Flatbush Level Up Urgent Care Center and Seed in the Middle, we hosted basically a holiday giveaway, giving out hot cocoa, lentil soup, and some free produce and music. And it was a really fun day with the families. Here you see a picture here with a family that found the event on Instagram and came out and enjoyed some hot cocoa. So it was really fun.
Go Instagram.
And then we ended December with our annual toy giveaway in collaboration with Flatlands Reformed Church, the 63rd Precinct, also HCC, Stage 63, Metro Plus, and the Sheriff's Department, who provided a good amount of toys for the event. We served, I believe, nearly 300 kids that day with toys. So it was really fun. And we had a fun bash, provide some games, and the families were able to also participate in s'mores making. And it was funny that day, a lot of kids never made their own s'mores. So they really enjoyed that, made hot cocoa, decorated gingerbread man, and also some art crafts on the end, and also enjoyed a nice meal together as a family. So it was a great way to end the year.
Thank you. Edlin?
Yes, hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Edelyn. I'm from East Flatbush as well. So I will be discussing our upcoming events. So as we were mentioning, our virtual open door event is the second Thursday of each month. Our next event will be scheduled on February 8th at 7 p.m. You know, as we mentioned, this gathering offers residents the chance to voice their neighborhood concerns and suggest, potential improvements. So we also provide, we also have raffle prizes as well as a token of gratitude for their involvement. next, as we were discussing our next general monthly meeting that we will be having next month, it will be our, well, no, it won't be our first, but it will still be in virtual until our next follow-up meeting in March. So you already know it's the fourth Thursday of each month, same time, 3 to 5 p.m. And this is a meeting where we're able to connect with, new service providers. And if you would like to, in future, join our governance team meeting, that could be something we could discuss and network. Okay, so for residents, please put your name, email address, and the word resident in the chat. Also, as for our service providers, I see a lot of you guys already putting it in the chat, but if you just join, just please put your name, email, address, and your organization in the chat as well. Okay, so now we will be presenting our presenter named Michelle Dixon. She is from Pathways to Prevention Coach, Division of Preventive Services. So now we will be giving you the stage to discuss. I think you're in mute, Michelle.
Okay, got it. Apologies, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. I'm going to let me now share my screen. Okay, so that we can get going. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Apologies. I think I'm more used to Teams than there we go. Okay.
No worries.
Here we go. All right. Is everyone able to see my screen right now?
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Excellent. Okay, great. So let me get this going. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so I'm so thrilled to be here with all of you. Happy Thursday. So I'm going to be speaking with you about prevention services available in your community. So my goal here is to just give you brief summary of like the scope of prevention, cover like who is eligible for these services, and then how you or anyone else in the community can make a referral for family directly to the services. Okay. I think I'd just like to, I'd like to make this like a casual conversation. Perhaps as we go along, I'm wondering perhaps what might be easier if people feel like they'd like to ask questions as we move forward, or also, at the end, I'm open to questions either way. And I just want to make sure, I think I'll be able to see the chat as we go. Okay. So let's get started. Just want to give you first off the official New York State definition of prevention services. Prevention services, these are services for families that are experiencing circumstances that may lead to child maltreatment. These services aim to support families in the community, promote family stability and well-being. So basically what I can tell you is just think of when you hear prevention, just it's all in the name, right? These are services like, their goal is to prevent bad things from happening to children, right? We want to help keep children and family, keep children safe, keep them together with their families, help promote stability. And what I want to help, talk to you all about is just understand that families can be directly referred to these services without there being a call to the SCR, without there being ACS involvement in their lives, right? So as of right now, we get about 80% of referrals from investigations. 20% comes from the community. So our hope is to see that number, that 20% number, to rise. Okay. Okay, and let's see next. Okay. So why do we feel like it's like, as I said, we want to see the number of referrals coming from the community increase, and why is this important? So right now, about 75% of the calls to the state central register they're not about abuse or maltreatment, but they're for neglect. And we feel that these families would be better served by prevention services, right? Also keeping in mind that when a family when there's a report for family to the SCR and then there's a CPS investigation, there's no guarantee that that call and that process is going to result in services for the family, right? And then also we want to keep in mind the fact that, there is some inherent trauma for a family when they do go through an investigation, right? I don't know if any of you are familiar with the process, but an investigation for a family can last 30 to 60 days. And many families, they can feel like it's somewhat of an invasion of their privacy. We understand that the SCR is here for suspected instances of abuse or maltreatment, but many oftentimes of the families, they may be just in need of supports and services, right? And we feel that, of course, a lot of places, such as schools, they may interact with families, but, our goal is to get this message across the city and just overall, letting anyone know for anyone who does interact with families, who identifies a need or concern, that these services, they are available in the communities. Okay. So I'm not sure if I'm not able to see, well, let's see the chat. No questions so far. Okay. So just talking about prevention services, who's received services. Each year, about 22,000 families and about 45,000 children in New York City receive these services. These prevention is provided by about more than 45 community-based organizations. They offer more than 135 programs across the 5 boroughs. Chances are you may have heard of some of the agencies that has prevention services. If we're in Brooklyn, I think of actually JCCA has prevention services. We have Forestdale, we have New York Foundling, and the Jewish Board. These are examples of some of the agencies that have prevention services. These services they're located in every borough. They're in every community district. These services are funded by ACS, but they're not ACS. So what that means is that the community agencies, some of the ones I just mentioned, they contract through the Administration for Children's Services to provide prevention agencies to the communities. But these are not, this is not ACS. So I just always want to stress that there's, a family seeking prevention services. This is not the same as an investigation. Okay. We have services that fall into like more or less 2 categories. We have what's called our family support programs, and we have our therapeutic treatment programs. As we move through the presentation, I'll be able to give you a little bit more detail as far as what these different types of programs can entail. But one thing that all these services have in common is that they are home-based, right? Understand that many times for our families, it could be an obstacle for them to, engaging in services, just sometimes getting to the provider may be an obstacle for them. These services come to the families in their homes. And, we could say overall, there's been pretty high level of satisfaction for families in a 2022 survey of a little more than 2,300 participants. 90% of the parents who participated in these services were happy with prevention. Okay, so I am going to keep moving. All right. Let's see. Okay, so let's talk about eligibility. All right. Who's eligible for these services, as I mentioned, these are provided through community-based organizations throughout the 5 boroughs. They're contracted through ACS, the Division of Prevention Services. These services are available to family regardless of their language. So, for families that may speak Spanish, or even, we have like Creole speaking families, perhaps Mandarin. Every effort is made to ensure that services are provided to the families in their preferred language. These services are also available free of charge. I will say that over and over again. These services are absolutely positively 100% free. There is no insurance required, and these services are available to families regardless of their immigration status. So families with children who are from ages 0 to 18 of age are eligible for these services, and up to 21 years of age if they're coming out of foster care. These services are also available to expecting parents, whether they be teens or adults. One very important point about prevention services is that they are voluntary. We strongly value voice and choice of our families, right? We want to make sure families feel as they are part of the decision-making process, right? So it is entirely up to them to engage in these services, but we truly hope that, like families will, see the benefit for them and their children. But under no circumstances are families obligated to these services. They are absolute 100% voluntary. Okay. Just gonna move along. All right. Now, what you're seeing on the screen right now are just some of the ways that the prevention services can support families, right? So we could start, think about case management, right? Or daycare services. So consider, for instance, the family where you may have a parent who's been overwhelmed, a parent who, is struggling to find daycare, and not having daycare is become an obstacle to, work. So prevention can help connect this family with daycare services. For homemaking services, one of the, families who are engaged in preventions are eligible for homemaking services. So these are, services in which someone comes in to assist them in managing the household, ensuring needs for the children. And there could be so many different circumstances that could be contributing to why a parent may need that sort of support. If a family has, if we're thinking about our families where they may be struggling with just like basic needs. We think of so many of our families, they may be struggling to, ensure we have, the children have coats, right? Last week we saw some really frigid temperatures. Some families may be struggling to buy, appropriate clothing for their children. One key point I want to stress is that poverty in and of itself is not maltreatment. So these services, prevention services, can be very useful for families who may need, support in just addressing, making sure there's food on the table, directing them to like pantries. If there's some issue with their benefits, prevention can provide advocacy and support in that area, right? Also, we're thinking about some other issues that may arise. Maybe some prevention can also support with perhaps some more complex issues. So if we're thinking of families who have been negatively impacted by domestic violence, if there are concerns for, with mental health, some unmet mental health needs, whether for the parent or the child, if there are concerns with substance misuse, even if you have like, if you're think about some of our families where they're struggling, we have parents who may be ready to tear their hair out because their adolescent child is more defiant, is, cutting classes, out past curfew, engaging in some like, risky behaviors. We have a class of prevention services that are geared towards, addressing those problematic behaviors with teens. Okay. Okay, just want to touch base to see if we have any questions so far before I move on. Okay. All right. So right now, what you'll be seeing on your screen is, again, a bit more of an overview of the prevention services. As I mentioned earlier, we have family support programs and therapeutic and treatment programs. If you want, you could think of it as these programs are on a spectrum. On one end, you have the family support. This may be more geared towards perhaps some like low risk um, issues for families. We have families who may need support, as I mentioned, with like case management, navigating different systems. If they need referrals, perhaps like if they need support, around parenting skills. Um, these are our family support programs. We have them in all boroughs. Um, the length of service for these programs will be maybe like 9 to 12 months. And families who are receiving services through our family support programs, they would be assigned a worker, and that worker would most likely be meeting with them in the home, perhaps once or twice a month. These services will serve smaller geographic areas. So say, for instance, you might have 10 programs in one borough. Each of those programs are going to serve specific catchment areas within that borough. You move along on the other side of the spectrum towards, we have our therapeutic and treatment programs. In addition to addressing some of the other needs that family support programs would address, these are programs that would address some of the more complex issues that I mentioned before. So issues around like mental health, substance use, challenging behaviors from our, from our adolescents. These programs, because of they will work more intensely with families, and because of that, their length of services would range from 4 to 12 months. So families receiving services through these programs, they would likely be assigned a worker who would be meeting with them instead of once or twice a month, once or twice a week. With some of our programs in this group, you might, a worker might be meeting with them even more often than once a week in the beginning, in the start of services. Unlike the family support programs, our therapeutic and treatment programs, they will serve they will serve the entire borough. So if you have 10 programs in one borough, each of those programs will serve the entire borough. Okay. So as we move on, now we're going to get to how can you connect a family to these services, right? And then to the right program. So the first way is you can contact our support line at 212-676-7667. Truth be told, this is a number I think I know now by heart, more so than my own number. This is a number that, we are encouraging anyone to reach out to. If you have any, if you have a family in mind that you'd like to refer, or even if you have any questions about prevention services, we encourage, anyone to contact this phone number, or you can send an email to our mailbox. This is connect@acs.nyc.gov. This number, this is a number, so far we've received, communication from, I will say, but basically anyone in the community. A lot of school staff have contacted us, hospital staff, mental health providers, shelter staff, and we've even had contact from family members themselves, just looking for, to be connected to services, right? I encourage you can contact us anytime for all inquiries. When you do reach out to us, you will have, you'll be interacting with someone who is going to, like collect, information as far as like, what is it that you're looking for? If you are looking for assistance in connecting a family, our team, would expect for someone from our team of Pathways to Prevention coaches, of which I'm one. Someone would be reaching out to you within 24 to 48 hours to follow up. Our role is to gather relevant information, and we would help to make that assessment as far as what would be a good fit of services. So think back to all the information that I just shared as far as family support or our therapeutic programs, right? We don't require you to know all the intricate details as far as of each program. If you're reaching out to us, we will do that work as far as assessing what might be the best fit, right? Another way to connect your families is to use our prevention provider directory. So this is a directory which includes information for every prevention program throughout the 5 boroughs. This directory is searchable by borough, by zip code, by agency name. It also gives you some information about the prevention program, and as well as who is the contact person and how you can reach them, either by phone or email. Okay. So, again, we are for whichever route you might choose, just again, know that no ACS involvement is required for families, right? Anyone can reach out about information, if you'd like our support or not, to connect a family to services. Our team will, we really we are committed to supporting you in connecting families, right? I'm not sure if you've heard as far as there is a shift towards more supporting before reporting a family. So in spirit of that shift, we want to make sure that those who are making the efforts to support their families, you have our support available to you. And we're committed to remaining involved as a support to you, until there, either your family is successfully connected to services or there's another successful resolution found for them. Okay. So at this time, that is going to end my slideshow, and I am available for any questions that anyone might have about the information I've shared today, or just about in prevention in general.
Thank you, Michelle. Are you able to see the chat?
I'm gone. Let me go now. Let me see. I'm screen sharing. Okay, great. I was just looking for the stop share. I apologize. Getting reacquainted with Zoom. Let's see. Yes, I'm going to the chat now. Let's see. Here we go. Can you share the directory link? Yes, sure. I will put that in the chat, and I'll also put in, we have one-page informational flyers.
Oh.
So make sure to share that. Did you mention if there is an income eligibility? So I think just to check, is that question to state a family has to have a certain income to qualify for these services? If that is the case, no, absolutely not. There is no income eligibility for families to qualify for these programs. They do not need insurance. It does not go through insurance. And as I said before, the services are available to families regardless of their immigration status.
If you're helping them with maybe they need counseling, mental health services,
right,
but they don't have insurance, would you be able to assist them with that, connecting to services?
Prevention, yes, prevention can absolutely support the family around those concerns. Okay. I'm seeing here also families that are financially secure but may need services for troubled youth due to the parent divorcing, caregiver mental illness. Yes. Yes, and think about, as I was mentioning, some of our programs like the therapeutic treatment programs. So, absolutely, we have certain programs that utilize like an evidence-based family therapy models. They're geared towards addressing behaviors like we may see, youths that are, like adolescents where we're seeing like emerging behaviors for them at school or at home. Most oftentimes those can be symptom behaviors of what may be going on within the family system. So we do have prevention programs utilizing evidence-based models to engage the family in therapy to address those concerns. And also, and yes, and as far as like caregiver mental illness or even youth or child's mental illness, yes, prevention services can help address those concerns. Let's see. I see the next thing here. What does intake process look like? Is there a wait list? If a family had a bad experience with a certain prevention office and no longer wants to work with them but still needs services, can they be transferred to another office? Okay. So I think there's a couple questions there. First thing is, as far as with intake, what would intake look like for families who are referred through this route? Typically, what would happen is, once a prevention agency, let's say, for instance, if you're talking about what the intake looks like, if you contacted us to support you with connecting a family to services, typically what that would look like is once an agency, is identified for the family, next step is that, this provider would need to have the contact information. But they may, if the family was, like, say, if someone referred the family, like working on the family's behalf, typically what we've seen is that there's great success in the prevention provider collaborating with that referral source. So let's say, we've worked a lot with school staff. So say a guidance counselor has initiated a referral due to, they're, speaking with the family has said that, they're interested in services. Once they reach out to us and we identify a prevention program, that prevention provider is then put in contact with the person who did the referral. They may collaborate just to gather a bit more information or contact information for the family. And then that program is reaching out to the family directly to offer them services. As I mentioned, these services are voluntary. But they would basically like reach out to talk with the family, see what their concerns are. If they're interested in services, then that provider would then take next steps as far as, like whether it's going to be, like setting up an in-person meeting or a virtual meeting. That intake process, that's a bit of what the intake process might look like. There's no hard and fast set intake process of, like each program may have some differences in what their process would look like. But basically, as far as what it would look like for a family to be connected, that is one instance. Do we have wait lists? So we do not utilize wait lists for prevention services. As far as a family who wants to work with another provider, so with this situation, I'll say this: if a family is not connected, not currently working with a prevention program, but they have had prevention in the past, and let's say for whatever reason, they did not have a positive experience. If they are open now to prevention services, then we could certainly work to, link them to services. And yes, we want to take into account what is the family saying, like if they did not have a good example with this agency or this program, then we would certainly want to respect it. And we would look towards, what might be other providers that could meet the family's needs. Now, if the family is currently connected, already working with a provider, and they may not be happy with the services, So on our end, we would not be able to initiate a new referral if a family's already connected to services. However, if, we would still want to find a way to support the family, whether that may be working, like outreaching to the current provider, as far as, we've received some, communication as far as issues in the work relationship. um, as far as transferring, if the family's already with a provider, that provider would need to take the steps to transfer them to a different program. So we wouldn't be able to do that transfer. But I'd certainly want to say that, we're still open, to like, providing support in whatever way we can, because, at the end of the day, we want to make sure our families feel that they're being heard and that, the concerns are being addressed. Um, what what additional services can I think I just want to clear, what additional services can we share with a family that ages out of the services? Okay, so I think just for clarity, I'm not sure who I'm saying. So this is from, I think, Miss
Yeah, so the
Reed.
question is, like, you mentioned that there's a certain age limit. I forgot what it was.
Oh, yes, 18.
Right? And once that family reaches that age limit with their child, if they still need support, what support is additional services or support can be provided for the family once they're no longer eligible to receive services from your prevention office?
Okay, so I think that just all really depends on what might be, what were the needs and concerns that brought the family to prevention services to begin with. Typically services, as they're as a family is coming up on, let's say, a youth, let's say, aging out of services, right? If we have someone who's approaching 18, right? A provider would know ahead of time. It's not like it's going to just like out of the blue, like, oh no, this child just turned 18 and we were totally unprepared. No, a provider should be working with a family as far as, what were the concerns that brought us here? And let's see how we can plan now if prevention is stepping out, but we still feel like, there are concerns. What can be some services and supports we point you to? So it could be, let's say, if we had a youth who, the reason for referral was because of, attendance issues, not going to school, no longer interested in school. So we'd have a provider that would be wanting to look to, like, okay, could, if this is a youth who did not successfully like re-engage in school, just because of like, a youth not re-engaging in school does not mean there might not be other paths to success for that adolescent. So we'd typically want to have we could see a prevention provider looking to, are you interested in Job Corps, vocational programs? Have you, gotten your working papers? Like, what are your interests at this time as you approach 18? Thinking about, if we have someone who has, if perhaps the referral reason was mental health concerns. And we're thinking about now this youth is, 18 years old, looking to ensure, is that you successfully connected to mental health support, right? Don't we know that prevention will not be forever with families? These are not long-term services, but that is to say that prevention in their work with families can help to link them with services that could be long-term. If it would include like, outpatient mental health, psychiatric services, right? We have some families who the enrollment reason was basically to help a parent manage special needs if their child has developmental delays. One of the things that prevention can support that family with is enrolling in, like in moving forward with the OPWDD process. Those are services which are long-term. So as prevention is stepping out, we like to know that the family is set up with the appropriate supports past that child turning 18, right? And, I will say that, here's one of the things with prevention, right? Because we think of like once a child turns 18, then that's it. In certain situations, however, prevention services could continue if there are other children in the home under 18. So let's say if, you know, a family was referred and there are 4 children, that oldest child is going to be turning 18. But then you have 3 younger children in the home under 18. Even when that older child turns 18, it does not necessarily end services because we have younger children in the home. Okay. Let's see. I'm just moving through the questions, and I'm hoping that was a sufficient answer for it. Or were there any other questions regarding that feedback? Let's see.
Great. You have another one. Say, do you partner with other providers?
Okay, so as far as when you say like partnering with other providers, you know, so I'll say many of the prevention programs, you know, as I mentioned, these are community-based agencies. They contract with ACS to provide prevention programs. However, many of these agencies may already have within their organization other programs. So I think when I hear say partner, one of the things that comes up is that, you know, a family who may be, participating in a prevention program, say with Jewish Board, it might make that, it might make it easier for them. Let's say if they require referral for mental health. Jewish Board, I believe like most locations, they do have outpatient mental health services. So, you know, a family could also be able to take advantages of other services provided by that agency. As far as partnering, I'm not sure is that as far as what it means with like partnering, but prevention providers certainly works alongside and collaborates with other providers. If we have when a family enrolls in prevention services, you know, if that family provides consent, prevention providers can collaborate with other service providers. If they're referring to these service providers, if service providers are already working with the family. So let's say if a prevention agency comes in and, this family is linked, someone in the family is linked to substance use treatment, someone in the family is linked to mental health. With that family's consent, prevention can collaborate along with those other treatment providers towards services. If there is like, if a family may have like, I'm thinking of home health, prevention may collaborate with those services.
Michelle, I responded to that, so thank you for that response. Yeah, we do partner with some of the prevention programs that you mentioned, so thank you.
Sure, absolutely. Yes, okay. And yes, actually JCCA, wonderful programs there. Let's see. I see, does prevention use culturally driven approaches? Prevention exploring treatment that is more culturally, okay. So does prevention use culturally driven approach? And is prevention exploring treatment that is more culturally driven? Okay, so I think what I'm hearing with that question is if prevention utilizes or culturally driven approach. And I think we're understanding as far as like with culture culture I think encompasses everything. But I will say here, this is like the short answer is yes. These programs are driven towards like, like culturally appropriate, recognizing the impact of culture and working with families with an understanding of like culture, how like this may impact them in so many various ways, right? From the very basics, as far as as I mentioned earlier, these services are provided in a family's preferred or a primary language. We understand like many times, for families where, just not, like families can encounter so many different barriers just by, not speaking the language. But also in different ways as far as, how culture, may impact, like, just as far as, like home management, understanding that, these services are, as I said, home based, and understanding, these services when they go in, understanding that, when I'm entering a home, there may be certain expectations that I have or I understand, from my culture, but understanding when you step through that door, it requires a whole, like an openness, first of all, and just a willingness to understand that what your expectations are may not match to the family, and being able to work with that, right? So yes, I think inherent in these programs is always, need to be culturally aware, respecting a family's culture in whatever way, in whatever way, shape, or form that impacts their daily lives, and especially the way that impacts their care of children. What kind of community engagement activities does prevention participate in? I will say this, remember I said they are how many different, we have a couple hundred different programs. The different prevention programs in all of our varied communities. I can't speak to each and every single, like activity they may participate in, because quite honestly, we have so many. But I know that, our providers are making their own, like individual like efforts, the organizations, they're all making their efforts to make sure that, their presence is known. Some are making the efforts to, like reach out to schools. Some may be, like hosting their own different like events just for the community. So I think the efforts that they're making are very wide and varied for me to be able to give a specific answer. But I think it could just be, it could be a lot. It could really vary. I'm quite sure, I know a lot of them did, like over the holidays, different activities, hosting families, toy drives. But I will say that, our providers make all efforts to really engage in the communities that they serve, and make it sure that we know that services, they're available, they're there. Okay, let's see. And I know I did say I was going to I wanted to check in if there are any more questions. No. Okay. See.
Michelle,
I
thank
actually
you
have
so much.
Sorry, I just one question. I know you talked about the intake process, but if a family comes saying they want help, what does that timeline looks like? Is it you're calling them within the first week, 2 weeks? I know you said there's no wait list, so I'm just wondering what that timeline looks like.
Okay, so you're saying like once an agency, okay, you're saying like once an agency has, like said that, okay, this family meets with our, like we feel like this family meets with our program requirements, we feel like they're a fit for our services. So turnaround time, it could be very quick as far as basically what was the steps that were being taken. If the referral was made by, if someone made the referral on behalf of that family, that intake process, the turnaround sometimes just depends on just everything that happens from the moment that person reached out to our helpline, basically to our being able to connect with that person who's making that referral. So as far as the turnaround time, a lot of it can just depend on really how quickly are we able to get the information for whoever's who referring the family so that we can reach out to an agency. So I could say like a turnaround time for a family to expect a call from an agency, it could maybe range, we've seen like, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, or it could be like maybe 1 or 2 days. So it's all just really a lot of things just turned on the turnaround time from, let's say, when our team is able to connect with the person who is, referring.
Thank you. Michelle, do we have any more questions for Michelle?
Okay. Yeah. I did drop in the chat. We have our flyers. I put them in English and Spanish. I just want to see if I might also have them in, I know we have them in Haitian Creole. We have them in Bengali. And here we have Urdu as well. So we have them, like in various languages. And lastly, I think I just also want to make sure I put in, someone had asked for the link to prevention services. So let me just make sure I have that for you. Okay, great.
Thank you so much, Michelle. You could also send us those flyers and we'll send them out in the meeting minutes also.
Absolutely.
And just
Okay.
so that everyone knows, all of the notes in the chat box will be sent out as well. So you'll all have all the information that's there if you didn't get a chance to capture it. Okay.
If we share your
All
contact
righty.
information, I think someone asked for your contact information as well.
Yes, okay, absolutely. Let's see. So we have all right.
Thank you, Michelle. Amy, would you like to share that before you boogie
Yes,
out?
I'm putting that in the chat right now.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Amy. I'm sorry, Michelle. Sorry for the confusion.
Oh,
Amy, would you like to share before you?
Yeah.
head out?
So I have to transition. My name is Amy Abush, and I'm the Senior VP for Preventive Services and Foster Care and Community Partnership Programs, amongst other community programs here at JCCA. So Michelle's like totally apropos that I'm here and that you're here and that we're here together, right? So we do have openings. We have CPP in the Bronx and Brooklyn, just very quickly, solution-based casework in Brooklyn. We also have FTRs, one of the highest level of care for families who are thriving with mental health or substance abuse disorders. And we also have a clinic. We have a program called Second Chances, which works with youth and families who have children who are currently in court involved or at risk of being court involved. We also have family therapy. It's called BFT. And we have 2 Jewish programs. Both of them are in Queens. So I just wanted to tell you, we have a whole line of continuum of care here at JCCA, and our clinic is in downtown Brooklyn at 57 Willoughby, where we are temporarily placed. Our CPP programming is placed there. So just wanted to share that, and thank you again, Michelle, and thank you, Lameka, and thank you, team. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Amy.
thank you.
And again, Michelle, thank you so much for everything that you shared today.
Sure.
I'm encouraged that folks had so many questions. That mean that they were really engaged with the content that you shared. So thank you. And you can feel free to share your presentation with us via email as well. If we can share it out, we'll share it to the community also.
Okay. All right. Great.
All righty. Thank you. Have a great day.
Have a great day,
You're
everyone.
welcome.
Take care. All right.
All right, everyone, we're going to transition to our program updates now. I would love it, since this is a new year, we're starting things off here in January 2024. We would love to hear from all of you. So feel free, unmute, let us know if there's anything going on in your organization, if you have any events that you'd like to tell us about. If you don't have a program update, I still would love to hear your voice and just say hi to you. So feel free, unmute.
Hi, Lameka, and Happy New Year to all, if you haven't already heard. So I'm Charlene Gordon. I'm from the New York City Department of Health, the Education and Community Partnership Unit. And what I would like to share today is we're partnering with the Brooklyn Public Library, the New Lots branch, for February 5th and the 12th for an ABC's trainings for childcare professional. Anyone that works with younger children is welcome to attend this training for you. We had given 2 dates, and it's going to be on between 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. And also you learn some information and some resources that the library provides for professionals. So in addition to our topic, you'll learn about what the library provides. It's free. You will definitely get a certificate for attending if that helps. And if you have any questions, you can always email me. I'll put my email address in the chat again. And thank you so much. And please, if you know other programs, share the information with them. I did put it in the chat, and I believe at one of the newsletter, Cindy actually shared that information to you. So again, thank you again. And again, if you have questions, let me know.
Thank you, Charlene. Who else would like to share?
Hi, this is Phil Hayward. Hi, Gomaka. How you doing?
Hi.
Just saying hello. Happy New Year. I know it's a little late, right? It's the end of the month, but hello to everyone. And it's good to be in the meeting and see everyone. I can't wait for March's meeting, so we all in person. But again, if anyone needs any sort of services, primary care, OBGYN, we're available. We have a lot of availability. You can always reach out to me. And the link to our location on Church Avenue between East 34th and East 35th Street. I'll send you, that's the hyperlink to the webpage. So any questions, always feel free to reach out. My email is in the chat as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Who else would like to share?
Hey guys, hi, it's Keisha Sydney here with Sesame Flyers. And yes, we're still in the first month of the year, so we can still say Happy New Year. And Happy New Year to everyone. Glad to see you guys on. And yes, looking forward to seeing all you guys in person in March. Just wanted to share SYEP registration has started, and there's like a short window for everyone to register. So we are looking for sites who would be interested in taking some kids. We normally host about 700 kids. So we are always looking for new people. So if you guys, think that you can do it some free labor for 6 weeks, please don't hesitate to ask. My information is in the chat. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Keisha. Who else would like to share?
Hi, everyone. Ray Bolick from Level Up at East Flatbush. Location urgent care. We're at 875 Utica Ave. We're open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 5. If you're not feeling well, please walk in at any time. And if you can't access our walk-in services, we also offer telemedicine. We are proud to serve the East Flatbush community and look forward to all the events that are happening in 2024. And once again, have a blessed New Year, everyone.
Thank you. Who's next?
I'll go next. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Daphne from the Art and Public Speaking program. We nothing in the calendar for now, but we do have our summer program, our dates are Saturdays from July 6th to August 17th. We're also looking forward to working in partnership with Zoshi. I met her during the gingerbread party last year, and so this year our program will be extended to teenage girls, and I'm excited to see how we continue to grow with all our partners. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who's next? Would anyone else like to share a program update or just? Okay. Thank you, everyone who did share. Excuse me, you guys see my dog. She's having a moment right now. Excuse her. Okay, just a reminder, we are on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Our handle is East Flatbush Partnership. And I was so encouraged when Cindy said that a family came by seeing us post an event on social media. That encourages me to know it's working. And thank you, Edlin, for managing our social media account. Our next meeting is going to be on February 22nd, 3 to 5 virtually. And keep in mind that we will be meeting in March in person for that meeting. We're going to meet once a quarter in person. Zip codes that we service: 11203, 11210, 11212, 11226. And on that note, we are officially done for today's meeting, but I do want to take this time to just leave the lines open in case you all wanted to connect with each other. If you heard something, if you need anything, if you need a connection, feel free, you can unmute and share, and we'll leave it open for just a few minutes in case anyone wants to have any side conversations outside of the planned meeting.